Do I hate men? No.
That's a lie.
I stand by that. I mean, I guess maybe I was lying. That's what the machine said. But I do know that there are like some good men. Few, but they exist. I just haven't met any. But I believe in miracles. So we'll see.
I think the youth needs to hear what real men are. I think there's there's masculinity.
But what are real men?
Right. To me, a real man is a responsible man.
Because every time a man does some fuck shit, they'll be like, that's not a real man. And it's like, looks like a man to me.
I think a real man is in touch with his feminine
looks like a duck
side,
and it walks like a duck.
I mean?
Yeah.
I think a real man is knows how to unstrap from his
I don't
ego.
know. I think the real man thing is just a thing like that people invented to like excuse bad behavior. You know?
Yeah,
like all men are real men.
Said like a real man.
Period.
Yeah,
Say it how it is.
I think, I think being like, to further add on what she's saying, I think there's this false narrative of what real men do, and I think it's tied into, privilege and masculinity. And I think exploring that in films is important because, we're raising these young boys to be men, and we can go that extra step to educate boys, and on that journey of how to, tap into the femininity, the vulnerability. That way we can further protect women.
Okay, so did he just memorize that? And is that the reason why she was not interrupting him? Why did she keep on interrupting him? Whenever a man does some stuff that we don't approve of, we say that's not a real man. Yes, we say it. We say it because we hold ourselves to the highest standard. We hold ourselves accountable for our actions. And at the same time, we have to be disciplined. That's the reason whenever a man does some dumb shit, we say he's not a real man. Because we hold ourselves to it. But why was she interrupting him? Is it that she didn't want to hear what he was about to say? He was about to speak his mind and she kept on interrupting him. Like, why are you interrupting?
I think the real man thing is just a thing like that people invented to like excuse bad behavior. You know?
Yeah,
like all men are real men.
Said like a real man.
Period.
Yeah,
Say it how it is.
I think, I think
that was Julia Fox doing press for the new Justin Tipping movie, Him. I think it's one of the hardest watches of the year, kind of functioning as the final boss of white feminism. The way she decided to frame that and the direction she took, it had absolutely nothing to do with what Marlon Wayans was saying. One thing I will say though, I think if you have a good sense for what real men are, you don't date Nazis. If you're familiar with Kanye, the whole shtick he's doing now is nothing new. By the way, this was all happening as he was still emotionally manipulating Kim, so it makes this all a bit stranger. Marlon Wayans is very calmly trying to talk about in this clip is toxic masculinity, which really is what this entire movie is about, that he and Tyreek Withers starred in. It's not a great movie, but they did have some ideas they were trying to get out there. It was a movie about ego and violence and male athletes hyper fixating on this sport and being selfish and not thinking about the damage they're doing to their own brain, their own body, to the bodies and brains of others. It was a movie designed to look at the dark underbelly of something that the majority of men love, that is the game of football. Nothing Wayans is talking about has anything to do with what Fox is saying. He's not using the term real man to excuse anything. He's trying to talk about good male role models in a world that's being led by really shitty ones. You have Fox here just interrupting him over and over again. I have to say, he handled that like a real man. He was calm, he was respectful, he listened to her, he kind of laughed it off, and then kept it moving. It's funny because as his wife in the movie Him, she is one of the main antagonists. She also was giving a distractingly bad performance that is not on the level of Tyreek or Marlon. That was a movie that could have glorified those men, but it chose not to do that. It had something to say, much like The Smashing Machine, which just came out. Mark Kerr was one of the most dangerous and physically gifted fighters of his generation. He laid the groundwork for UFC today. He helped to grow MMA at a time when these fighters were mostly anonymous. The amount of violence he could unleash was absolutely insane, but he was also a very kind man with a lot of respect for his opponents, respect for pretty much everybody. A softer side, he had an aversion to violence, and he had to figure out how to lose as this massive man who everyone thought was unbeatable. And this is not a great movie, but it's doing something interesting, showing a path to understanding how to lose rather than a path to some huge victory. There were two movies with something interesting to say about male athletes and the state of masculinity today. It was also very much about the experience of a black athlete with a white agent and a white GM and a white owner and all these other people to deal with. The star of the movie trying to speak his mind, say something thoughtful and positive, and being talked down to by Julia Fox.
Okay, this video I'm going to show you is Julia Fox and Marlon Wayans talking about their new movie they've got out or something. Those two get in a little kerfuffle Marlon kind of backs down, Julia does not. The other thing I want you to notice is Julia's neck. I do just want you to notice that. And then that Marlon does say that well, this is how a masculine man talks, and he taps her on the shoulder. Are they trying to tell us something? Tell me what you think.
What real men are. I think there's there's masculinity.
So what are real men?
Right. To me, a real man is a responsible man.
Because every time a man does some fuck shit,
him
they'll
off.
be like, that's not a real man. And it's like, looks like a man to me.
I think a real man is in touch with his
Looks like a
feminine
duck
side,
and it walks like
you
a
know what
duck.
I mean?
Yeah.
I think a real man is knows how to unstrap from his
I don't know.
ego.
I think the real man thing is just a thing like that people invented to like excuse bad behavior. You know?
Yeah, I
Like
think a
all
real
men
man
are real men.
said like
you
a
know?
real man.
Period.
I think it's just simply putting to say, I don't know, it's feminism that has gotten out of hand. Like her behaving like that, she probably has not been around many real men. Or maybe when growing up, that's the reason why she's grown up like that. Because, I mean, I'm just saying here, like, what kind of behavior is that?
First of all, that was rude. Julia is on an interview panel with her co-stars. She has so much anti-man that she hasn't cleared and hasn't worked through that she can't even get through a simple interview and let her co-star describe what he thinks a real man is.
I think
I can't with this guy.
To further add on what she's saying, I think there's this false narrative of what real men do.
Narrative.
I think it's tied into, privilege and masculinity. And I
Masculinity.
think exploring that in films is important because, we're raising these young boys to be men, and we can go that extra step to educate boys. And on that journey of how to, tap into the femininity.
He got all the words out. Femininity, masculinity, narrative, explore. It was as if some agent or manager was like, okay, say these 7 words. And then he checked it off the list, and it was all mumbo jumbo to him. He doesn't know what it means. He can't put it in a good sentence. Sorry, I get so frustrated though. The idiocy of these actors that they have trotted out in front of us, that they have just given words to, and they're just trying to make themselves sound, we're raising the next generation of men. Are you? Please don't. Let us handle it, okay? We don't want your films to handle it for us, okay? I am sick of people that are uneducated trying to educate us.
Why does he want to teach the boys? I mean, through a script? You want to teach boys through a script? Why don't you teach your own kids and let the parents for the other kids do the parenting and the teaching? Why do you want to teach them about masculinity, about what being a man is? Why do you want to teach them? Because we all have idea. Ever since they started, men should be like this, boys should be like that, boys should be. It's turning against your nature. You understand? Everything is just turning against your nature. Why should there be some movie to teach about how boys should behave, how men should be? And there are no such things as toxic masculinity. There are no such things. Any man that's masculine and secure enough will be able to protect women and kids.